Okay, this is part 2 of the video discussing Joey Carbstrong. If you haven't seen the first part, I'll put a link to that down below. So let's just go straight into Joey.
I've got you now. I'm very well indeed, Joey. Joey, you are an activist. I'll talk about your colourful past very shortly. But tell me where you stand on this veganism issue.
Okay, so veganism is a lifestyle which seeks to exclude any animal use. We believe that it's unnecessary to use animals for their body, for their flesh, for their breast milk, for their eggs. Anything that comes from an animal these days is just unnecessary, and we avoid it as far as practically possible.
Boom! Like, straight away, that is just like the perfect quote of what is veganism. So the presenter's like, where do you stand on it? Joey's just on, here's the script, this is what it is. And if you listen to each individual word, they're all pretty good words. So in other words, at the end, it's where practically, no, it's not practically, practicably possible, where it's easy to do. Okay, I can't say that word for some reason. Hold on, I need to hear him say that again.
Their flesh, for their breast milk, for their eggs. Anything that comes from an animal these days is just unnecessary. And
again, there's a tiny little word there which you might not have heard that I think is quite good. Anything that comes from an animal, tiny little bit here, he says, these days is unnecessary, and we try to exclude it as far as practically possible. That little word there, these days, is so true for just now. So now, whenever people go, oh, but cavemen ate meat, you kind of go, that's fine, I'm not trying to turn cavemen vegan, I'm trying to turn us vegan. We've got research, we live longer, we have better transport mechanisms that mean we can get food from all over the place, blah, blah, blah. So that one addition that he's added into the statement gets rid of the historical argument. Well, we ate chickens in the past. You're like, that's great, we're not doing it now. We're trying to promote veganism now, not trying to somehow go back in time and make people veganism. Make people vegan.
Avoid it as far as practically possible.
Boom.
So if you had your way, there would be no cows, no chickens, no hens, no pigs, no sheep in the Irish countryside.
That's an interesting kind of statement. Because again, in Ireland, there's a lot of farms. If you just go into a map, and it is just farms and fields and fields and fields, and they're not all filled with cows and sheep and pigs and chickens. And again, chickens, you don't necessarily really see them out on the countryside. They're usually in giant barns. Again, with the dairy industry as well, a lot of the footage that you're seeing now, the kind of undercover stuff, is that the cows are being taken away and put into tiny little crates. I think it was that Marks and Spencer's got into a bit of heat for that because all their free-range cows, or whatever it was, were literally cows in a crate the size of their body with a tiny little bit of grass in front of them. And I was like, oh, that's a horrific way to live. So again, a lot of the farming practices are not the stereotypical what we imagine. Oh, cows and sheep bouncing around in a field. They may do that once a week or so, but the majority of it is not nice. And again, it's the idea of, well, if we're not eating them, they're not going to be in the fields. Isn't that a terrible thing? From my point of view of veganism, it's like, you know, we don't eat pigeons. Actually, no, some people do eat pigeons. Okay, but we don't farm pigeons. They're happily flying around the place. What about squirrels? We don't eat squirrels. They're all over the place as well. Hedgehogs. We don't farm them. Do you know what? They're still around. They're absolutely fine. They try to say, oh, well, then we won't have them in our beautiful fields. I don't really see the argument. I would love to have just fields which are just filled with trees and forests and plants and farming stuff. It doesn't necessarily need to be filled with animals just pooing all over the place. You have to watch out for their poo. Anyway, enough.
Well, Ireland and UK are a nation of animal lovers, and we love and care for some animals, dogs and cats and dolphins, but we condemn others to a slaughterhouse for an unnecessary reason, and there's no difference inherently in the way these animals want to live, in the way they feel pain, in the way they suffer, and we just think it's an injustice to these animals.
Boom, that's a total deflection of the question, but still answers it fairly well. So instead, like, straight away, if you were to answer that directly, you would come up with resistance. Like, oh, but I want to see cows in the fields, or my field needs cows to plough the farm, blah, blah, blah. But what he deflects it and answers it with a statement of, we're all animal lovers. We teach our children to be kind to animals, don't we? He doesn't say that. That's why I say it to myself. We teach our children to be kind to animals. We're all animal lovers. We don't want to kill dolphins. Dolphins might not have been a great one to use in the UK. Not a lot of dolphins around here. But I like to use the term hedgehogs. It's like, we're not killing hedgehogs or pandas or unicorns. So it was good deflection. I like that move, and it's also you're getting that person to agree with you straight away. So that person asks you almost a yes or no question, and you respond to that yes or no question with statements which that person would be agreeing with. So you don't go, yes, I want the countryside to have no cows, and the person goes, well, we're not happy with that. But you go back with not necessarily a question back, but a statement back which that person agrees with. Was it the Vegan Bros did a video a wee while ago, like, easiest way to say why you're vegan. It's just like, if somebody asks you, why are you vegan? The best way to respond to it is the simplest, shortest answer. And it is with something like, it's like, because I don't want to support animal abuse. Boom. And like the person that's asked you that question is like, I don't want to support animal abuse either. Yes, I'm with you on that. It's like within a very short sentence, you've got people, instead of kind of going, oh, you're a vegan, I'm not, but both going, oh yeah, we both don't want to support animal abuse. Yeah, cool, we're on the same side. So yeah, Joey did a good job there, getting them on your side with a statement back.
You've made incredible progress, and people who are into turning people vegan and turning...
Vegan? What is vegan?
Back on the farming industry have made progress. A lot of this down to social media. You're very active on the social media scene. You film what's going on. You go to the slaughterhouses. You follow the farmers to market. You storm into the market. You're pretty vocal in your protest.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we bring to the light what happens in the dark, and I think if the majority of the public just didn't see the green pastures with the animals grazing and all these high welfare animals, if they actually seen what happens in these slaughterhouses, then they would have a different view on eating the flesh of animals. I've been inside a slaughterhouse myself, and it smells like fear, like feces, and like blood in these places, and it's a horrible place for animals.
Good little response to that. So instead of looking like the person who's, I'm just attacking slaughterhouses, or I'm just attacking abattoirs, blah, 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 you're actually kind of going, I'm getting the footage to show people what it's actually like. So instead of like, I'm an attacker, it's more like, I'm a educator, is how you responded to that one, which is quite a good move. So it's like, I'm not trying to be a bad person and close down abattoirs and, drive off trucks off the road. But I'm trying to make sure that people see what actually happens, and it's not that nice out there.
Did you become so active in relation to this? Because your past is a checkered past. You've had your challenges in life. You've been involved in drugs. You've had addictions. You've been pushing the boundaries of the law. What was the road to Damascus moment for you?
So this is a bit where I was thinking, if I was in Joey's situation here, I'd be like, could people stop digging up my checkered history? That was the phrase that you used there. My bad past. Is there any way we could just get over that kind of thing? But here, Joey, listen to his answer, is really good. It's the way he turns around his checkered past, which I think, again, for a lot of certainly younger people, is relatable. Relatable, yeah, that's the right word.
Okay, so I had an epiphany, and it happened while I was had a period of sobriety, and I seen my life with new eyes. And I'd spent a long period of time in my life taking from people and hurting people around me, and I decided that it was time that I gave back. And I always was interested in helping others, helping human beings, but then I realized that there was someone suffering more that didn't have a voice, and they were the animals. And I believe that the animals are the most vulnerable and the most innocent beings on earth, and they don't have a voice. So I decided to speak up for them.
And
Nice.
I'm going to speak to a farmer as well in a moment, Joey, because, you know...
So the radio presenter there is really trying to kind of go, oh, this guy's a bad vegan. He's like one of these crazy vegans trying to stop stuff. But then Joey's just going straight back with her going, just trying to help people out, trying to do good things. You know, it could help out people, or it could help out the people that have no voice whatsoever, aka the animals. And the presenter, instead of having an axe to grind, of going, oh, so you're a bad guy doing bad things and disturbing farmers, blah blah. It's like, oh yeah, so you're doing good stuff for people who would need your help. Okay, damn, okay.
Painting a picture of farmers in this part of the world, farmers across the UK, as doing something that's very sinister and cruel. Yet we all know farmers. We're related to farmers. We live with farmers. We see the importance of farming, and we also are very aware of the desire for all those dairy products and meat products. Yeah. It's our lifestyle. Why do you feel that you have the right to change that?
Okay, here's a great point where I think if I remember, he comes back with a statement of, I don't hate farmers, I hate what they have to do to get their stuff to market. So in other words, what they have to do to fulfill demand and all that kind of stuff. Mind you, there are farmers that grow potatoes, that works quite well. But he comes across as not being the person attacking necessarily the farmer. There's a Christian thing or a religious thing where it's like, don't hate the sinner, hate the sin. I think that's the phrase, where he's saying, look, and also the thing is, I'm sure Joey appreciates this fact, but any farmer which he is engaging with in this discussion, in this debate, in the arguments that he's having here, is at least a farmer which is engaged. Even if you're anti-vegan and you're like, oh, I hate vegans, at least you're engaged and you know the situation. You know the way the tide is flowing. The biggest difficulty in veganism is getting the people who aren't interested in veganism. People are like, oh, I don't know, I don't care, whatever. And the only way I could relate to that is like if somebody tries to get me interested in the Kardashians or Kardashians, I don't know even how to pronounce their names. It's like, oh, but they've just brought out a new handbag. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care how much you care. I don't care. Or, you know, for some people it's politics. It's like, oh, what do you think of the Italian parties, the 5-star Italian party? You're like, a political party in Italy? Why do I care? I don't care. So again, I'm sure Joey appreciates it, but any farmer which goes onto a radio show to say, I'm against vegans, vegans are destroying my land, at least they're engaged going on here. So yeah, you've got to appreciate all the farmers that want to argue with you.
Okay, now, for starters, I want to emphasise this. I don't hate farmers.
Boom.
Okay, I understand that farmers are just supplying a demand for these products, and they've been brought up in a violent society that believes animals are here to use. So I don't have a problem with farmers. I have a problem with the practice of using animals for their bodies. Now, I believe people think it's just a choice. It's just an arbitrary choice. But the animal has no choice in this dietary lifestyle, does it? So the animal has no choice. The farmers are making money off the backs of animals. And I don't want farmers to be out of a job. I want them to change the things they farm, to farm plant foods. There's a big demand now for plant-based products, and that does not involve a direct victim.
What do you say to the people who target the farmers on social media, who literally use the word murderer about?
Okay, this bit goes on for me a while, and he just it's stuff which he's had to clarify multiple times in the past. It's like, yeah, I don't promote calling people murderers, and yes, artificial insemination is effectively sexually violating animals, blah blah blah. We know, I know that story. If you want to watch it, you can listen to it.
Violation, what is? I just don't understand.
Okay, so now we're going to get to the actual point where the farmer comes into the radio show.
Good morning to Sam Chesney, a beef farmer. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, Frank. Good morning, Joy.
Hello, how are you, mate?
Joey's on the other line. Sam, you've taken a queer battering this morning, farmers in general, from Joey's analysis. What do you say?
Well, really, this is just another new wave cult religion that we're seeing coming out of the woodwork.
A wave cult religion coming out of the woodwork. So It's good this farmer is engaged and happy enough to get involved in the argument here. Again, ad hominem attacks or statements here. It's like, oh well, I think they're all crazy, or blah 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 blah. It's like, but again, if it's a religion, if it is a cult or a religion which is promoting excluding animals from being killed for dietary preferences, not necessarily dietary requirements, it's like that's a pretty good cult. I'm trying to. It's like, and also by doing that, you reduce the demand on the land, the demand on the environment, the demand on water sources, and all that kind of stuff. And you're just like, that's a pretty positive cult to do.
I take it Joey's from Australia and he's not really familiar with the animal practices and welfare that we have here in the British Isles and Ireland.
And it's always like, but we're good over here. Do you know what? I'm going to leave it here. I've done that long enough. I'm going to go into part 3, discussing more about what the actual farmer says, and I'll finish that tomorrow. But so far, Joey's brilliant answers. Well done.